The Omnia is with you. Always. Latency was written and directed by James Croak. This is his feature credit as far as writing and directing goes, and centers around a character named Hannah, who's a brilliant video game programmer, so much so that she can play the latest video game. She can feel such immersion that she can see it play out in front of her. It's like, oh my god, these are incredible. Oh, I'm so glad, colleague, I have you on the other end. And what the fuck is this? There is a glitch over here. What the hell? Why is this thing clipping through the goddamn wall? You said you fixed it. Oh, you didn't fix it. Well, re-rack the code and get back to me. And you know what? Because she's so good at her goddamn job, her colleague is gonna do that. And then they're gonna make the video game better with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the goddamn video game. Let's just go with that. But she is so good at what she does, she can do work remotely. And it's a good thing that she is so good at her job and can do the work remotely, because if they tried to get her into the office, it wouldn't work. And why is that? Because, well, it's not like she's confined to a wheelchair. It's not like she, is like rude to the goddamn ground like Joe in that Family Guy episode. Bring it on! No, she's agoraphobic. No, she doesn't have a fear of blood and guts. Not the AEW War Games knockoff. No, not the blood and the gore. No, I can't stand watching it. I can't look at this. Why did I go to a horror movie? No, she has a fear of leaving her apartment. Okay, you know what? There are legit reasons why people are agoraphobic. Traumatic event. Whatever it was, like, what Sigourney Weaver's character suffered in Copycat, just without Harry Connick Jr. being like, it's like, ha, Doc. Harry Connick Jr. was fun in that. But yes, agoraphobia has been used in horror movies before, so that's what we got here. And, Hannah's so agoraphobic, she can barely go outside her door, and if a delivery comes, she has to have the delivery driver stand on the goddamn hallway. And she's been waiting for a particular delivery of something from a brand called Kleenex. And no, that is not a new brand of Kleenex. That is not Cyber Kleenex. That has nothing to do with Christian broadcast technology where they put the songs inside your head. Or C-SPAN technology where they put the boring, here. I do love hearing the British stuff on there. That's always fun. But no, C-SPAN has nothing to do with this. It's Kleenex, and they're sending something called the Omnia, which basically kind of looks like this, essentially, except this actually looks like it had more effort put into it. Yeah, it's just like a hair clip that you put in the back of your goddamn head. And it syncs with your brain. You go through some trials, a few trials we'll talk about here in a bit, and then it syncs with your brain. You have such a stream of consciousness that you can be good at everything. You can be good. You can be even better at video games. You could possibly win a tournament. Maybe you could have relations with somebody, anybody that you want. And you could just do whatever. Or it could basically take over your goddamn life like artificial intelligence is known to do. And that's kind of what ends up happening here. So, as far as the cast, there's only one other cast member listed on the full IMDb page. That's Jen, played by Alexis Wren, who was in The Enforcer. And Hannah is played by Sasha Luss, who has only been in a few projects since, before this, rather. She was in a 2019 Luc Besson movie called Anna. I guess they figured that she probably recognized something similar to Anna and didn't want to confuse her, even though she routinely sounded confused in this, so I'll get to that. But, yeah, she was a spy, put in, a lead role, and precisely 10 fucking people watched it. I watched it, I reviewed it, I kind of remember liking it. It wasn't great necessarily, but I was like, okay, bright, beautiful blonde that is doing action-y, espionage-y stuff, Luc Besson's direction, cool, and nobody watched it. And then she was also in our Luc Besson movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Plants. I need to watch this at some point, because Cara Delevingne, yeah. So nevertheless, Rihanna also was in this. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Yeah, Valerian. No, but nobody really watched that either. I think 20 people maybe watched that. Twice the amount of Anna. So yes, Sasha Luss plays Hannah. We find out more about Hannah as the film goes on. And find out how Jen plays into all this. Jen is a tenant, not the Christopher Nolan movie, of this apartment complex that basically it takes place. 95% of the goddamn thing takes place in this particular apartment that Hannah has. And we find out why Hannah is agoraphobic. It doesn't just have to do with having a fear of leaving. There's a reason why she fears leaving. And the Omnia brings that stuff out and brings it to light. And you know what it should have done? It should have sent this movie into the goddamn light, because this movie deserved to pass on. This movie did not deserve to get a theatrical release. And I'm sorry, there were germs of halfway decent ideas in this, but this movie was abysmal. This movie was absolutely fucking putrid. And as beautiful as Sasha is, and I'm sure that you could put an A-list actor in this, and they probably wouldn't have been able to make much of the script and the fact that it was simplistic but also completely incomprehensible, just chucking stuff there. It's like Fear.com, Stay Alive, and other internet video game movies, Human Centipede together, and this was shat out. That's pretty much what Latency is. And Latency does have to do with, low latency headphones. That's like a different type of latency. Latency, that is, there's pulsating sounds from these speakers for the video games and stuff like that, and also weird spoopy stuff happening. And yeah, the problem is this movie tries to be so busy and tries to do a bunch of things while not really doing any of them well. And I was actually astonished by how inept this was. The intro, the opening scene, the opening 10 minutes are kind of okay. I mean, they're not bad, but this ends up just dissolving and eroding into something that is so busy and so stupid and just so fucking rotten from a narrative standpoint, from an acting standpoint. I'm sorry. These two women try their best. This was not good. If these were the takes they went with, I'd hate to see the takes that they left on the cutting room floor. Though based on how stretched out this movie was, I don't think anything was left on the cutting room floor. But yes, basically you put this thing on the back. There's a power button on the back. But naturally, of course, when it comes to artificial intelligence and all this stuff, you can't actually turn that off because that wouldn't be cricket. And yeah, from there, we have a movie that really isn't great. In fact, not great is putting it mildly. This is one of the worst films of the goddamn year. And while people can grow, and I do hope James Croak is able to do bigger and better projects, everybody's got to start somewhere. This was a fucking misfire. If this was the best that the idea could be fleshed out, and done, this is the best fleshing out they could do of the idea, they shouldn't have done it. They should have not done this at all. They should have gone right to streaming. They should have gone to Shudder. It's not good. The apartment complex literally consists of a hallway and a couple stairwells. And yes, I get doing cheap movies. You have to do stuff like that. But my God, the offensively cheap and bullshit nature of this movie, it's nuts. There are movies like The Artifice Girl that were able to do great things with a smaller budget, and other horror movies that I've seen. This tries to be haunted house, haunted apartment, video game stuff, and all this crazy thing. Human Centipede together, yes, I had to put that in there again, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all, and the acting is fucking atrocious. If this is like the second movie that Sasha has had a lead in that I have seen, and I'm not convinced she really should be anything other than part of an ensemble cast. And I'm not saying Alexis is much better. I'm not saying they didn't try. But good grief, it was painful. This was painful to watch. And also it tries to chuck a bunch of twists while not having anything to twist around. Because the story is as big around as a little collapsible drinking straw. I'm going to get into spoilers right now. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, it's awful. Spoilers. So basically, Jen is her girlfriend. At least that much. It's kind of like if All of Us Strangers had a video game theme, but then they took out all the passion of All of Us Strangers and the good directing and writing and pretty much everything that made All of Us Strangers. Go watch All of Us Strangers. It deals with apartment life a lot better than this. So, basically, Hannah does the stuff where she sees these demons, like these new Doom demons, coming at her, and then sees the one clipping through the goddamn wall and is talking, and gets this Omnia as a way to help her maybe hone her skills and get better and win this video game tournament. Like a Call of Duty knockoff or whatever the fuck it was. It's a $250,000 cash prize. And also she says to Jen who helps her out, who cooks her meals, brings her food, does a whole bunch of stuff, waits on her hand and goddamn foot. And Hannah is still, she loves her, but it's really weird. And also there's a secret about the apartment. Because Hannah keeps seeing a weird ghostly girl that's down the goddamn hallway. She has a bunch of video games like Tetris on the Game Boy, which, boy, the Tetris movie was certainly something. It wasn't the best, but it was pretty good, kind of, maybe. But yeah, Tetris on the Game Boy. I don't know why you would use dim mode on that, but maybe you don't want to waste the batteries. She has numerous cases of Red Bull, a whole bunch of other stuff. And yeah, just plays video games, wins this tournament. Jen had bet some money on her, and everything's good. They're going to make the most of this money. Oh, yes, and also there's this ball that, you know, is used to, like, bounce against the wall and stuff like that has something that's tied to her past. It turns out that basically this little girl and this other ghostly woman are tied back to Hannah's past. Because the ghostly woman is her mother. And this is the way I interpreted it with the little girl. I thought that maybe either the mother killed the little girl that was a friend of hers and it's just distorted her reality, or Hannah's been dead this whole goddamn time, and, you know, they just did, and Hannah, you know, ended up playing out this in her afterlife, I guess, or in an alternate reality. But it doesn't really fucking matter. The movie is just an incomprehensible, stupid mess. But yes, the woman is her mother. That was her mother's apartment. And now she's agoraphobic. She can't leave because her mother then will attack and kill everybody in the apartment complex. The apartment complex that consists of one other person and the landlord. That guy ain't running exactly the best business. But yes, Jen ends up getting killed. There's weird flashbacks and weird stuff going on where she keeps thinking that she saw Jen, but she didn't. These ghostly images and all this jump scare noise bullshit. Lazy as fuck. The ball at one point turns into a bit of a canary. For whatever reason. Just a little bird and everything. Just turn around. Stuff just occurs, and none of it really ends up fucking mattering. And yeah, just basically it ends up where she tries to power the damn thing off. It doesn't work because the thing is hooked onto her. She tries to take it off at one point, and then the thing's just back on. And she takes it off, and then they do this camera spin and stuff like that. And again, I get that the movie was supposed to be cheap, but my God, there's this point where this hand reaches through the goddamn screen and it looks really ridiculous. The ghost effects look really goddamn bad. I mean, really, really fucking putrid. I'm sorry, I don't mean to dump on a movie like this, but when it's bad, I gotta fucking say something. And Sasha, once again, should not be a lead in a movie because whatever country you come from, I don't care, but it's just like, it was insane. It was like, you know, her accent just wasn't slipping when she was trying to be an American. They really should have just had her be herself, and then it would have worked. But her accent was slipping out so goddamn much, it wasn't so much slipping, it was hitting us over the head like a hammer at a Gallagher concert. Or a show. Did he do concerts? I think he just did shows. Nevertheless, yeah, that's pretty much the movie right there, because it turns out that Jen got killed by the mother, or maybe Hannah ended up killing her in a fit of rage because she's agoraphobic and she couldn't leave and she couldn't let the secret be let out. But she wins the tournament, wins all this money, pays off her rent. So all this back rent, I assume, that has been since her mother has passed away. And the landlord apparently is just like, okay, yeah, you can just give it to me eventually. Jen's found dead in the goddamn bathtub. Hannah ends up basically totally losing it. At one point, she decides, I'm going to leave. She goes up and she's chased by all these demons. The demons that she shot earlier. And then she gets up on the roof, falls off, refers to the fact that video games were the only thing that helped her. And then she ends up back in the apartment because she can never ever leave. She's attached there. Like she's a spirit. Or like her mother's attached her there. Or plot convenience. And then the police show up. Yes, actual other actors are in this movie, believe it or not. Including a very attractive brunette cop. I want to know more about her. But yeah, they try to take her away. And then suddenly the ghost mother shows up and screams, and that's it. No, literally, that's how the fucking movie ends. Did I describe that plot well? I don't care because the movie is terrible, and the movie just is a mishmash of ideas, and none of them are good. It gets an F. This is terrible. This is one of the worst movies of the year. It might be the worst movie of the year. I still gotta decide on that because I'm just so angry about it. And by the way, I spent money on this goddamn thing. It's not like I just used an app and got this for a convenience fee. No, I spent the full matinee price. So I kind of feel justified in the fact that I, used my time and money and wanted to give a film a chance, and this film basically just slapped me in the goddamn face. So yeah, F. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.